What's up, guys? We are here at the AMC theaters in Las Vegas, about to go and watch Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm excited. I'm going to be actually here with my band. We're seeing it together. Yo, we are here to see Spider-Man No Way Home. We got all the Spider-Man behind us. With great power comes great responsibility. Yeah. And great booty bitches. Coming out swinging. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Steven Reacts. My name is Steven, and today we are doing a review, a spoiler review of Spider-Man No Way Home. So if you have not seen the movie, please do not watch this and go see the movie. Trust me, it is worth it. Oh my God. If you are still here, man, this movie had everything you could want in a Spider-Man movie. It had heart, it had action, it had depth, it had everything that you really would want. And Spider-Man 2 is still my favorite Spider-Man movie because of the fact that, you know, going through that journey with Toby and how he had, you know, his web blog because of just questioning everything about being Spider-Man from, you know, the past films, things, and also his troubles with trying to be faithful with MJ, and well, not really faithful, but, you know, keep his word with MJ and whatnot. Like it was a very emotional, impactful character story for Spider-Man, and this one kind of has that feeling to it because of the fact that we are dealing with Tom Holland now being outed as Spider-Man by Mysterio and the entire world. Some people are still with him. A lot of people are against him. He's trying to find his way into college, you know, and being rejected going to college. And also not only that, but MJ and Ned also being rejected because they're friends with him. It's one of those things of he is just trying so hard to correct things. And in that, he is making more mistakes. And what's good about this is they really focus on Tom Holland being a teenager in the situation. Because, yeah, a lot of the decisions that he makes are stupid. He goes and talks to Doctor Strange to try to get a get a spell done without first talking to college admissions to try to plead his case in getting his friends into college. Other than, he just keeps skipping steps. And in that, a lot of trouble ensues. And of course, during the spell, he keeps changing that spell, which makes the spell go out of control and brings in villains that knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, other than having everyone forget that he's Spider-Man. And that's how, of course, we get Doc Ock, we get Lizard, we get Electro, Sandman, Green Goblin. Like, we get everyone here, and that brings out chaos that you really love. Now, a lot of people complain about the first half of the movie that I've seen. And then in the first half, yeah, it may be a little clunky, but it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. And the pacing of this movie is very, very good as well. It does not feel like it's a 2.5 hour film. It goes by really fast. And that's something that I wish wasn't there, but I'm glad it didn't feel like it was dragging on as well. It's a good medium to me. And yeah, the movie is not perfect, guys. It is not a perfect film. There are certain decisions that could be made that were different, some editing choices that could have been different as well. But you know what? Right now, that's not something that I'm really honestly worried about. What I was worried more about going into this film was, how are they going to have all these people in this movie and not it feel cluttered? Because, you know, we've had that in the past. We had Spider-Man 3, we had The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and those two films felt cluttered. And this one did not, because every character served their actual purpose. And they were not just in there as fan service, they were in there to serve the story. And that is something that I absolutely loved about this film. And of course, Man, the heartfelt moments. One main one, of course, is about Aunt May dying. And the very first time that I experienced Aunt May dying was in the Spider-Man PS4 game, and that broke me so bad. And this one did too. And I have a theory about this universe because, Tom Holland didn't have an Uncle Ben per se. Like, she of course dated Ben, and I'm sure he probably died, but it wasn't his fault like the past two Spider-Man films were, the past two Spider-Man iterations were, where Toby's Uncle Ben died and it was his fault. Andrews sort of was his fault, but not fully. He just got into an argument with him, and Uncle Ben went out to try to find him, and that was a different story. But he had to deal with Gwen. Gwen's death was his fault, and so and that's the one really cool thing about this film also is the fact that Andrew Garfield kind of got his redeeming moment because of what happened with Gwen, and we'll get back to that in a little bit. But still staying on Tom Holland, Aunt May was his Uncle Ben in this one, in the situation, because she gave him the "with great power comes great responsibility" line, and because of that, of course, she died that same day, just like the Uncle Bens in the past iterations. So I feel like this was that moment for Tom Holland that he needed to no longer be like a child, but to become more of the Spider-Man that we do know, which later on he does become. Now let's talk about other stuff real quickly. We got Toby and Andrew showing up, and that was an amazing scene. I knew it was coming. I didn't know when it was coming, but I knew it was coming. And I was really happy about it because it still made the excitement that much more, because seeing Andrew come out. Now, if I'm going to be completely honest, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man films are like my favorite besides Spider-Man 3. But Andrew Garfield, his Spider-Man was the quippiest, the most fun I've ever honestly had with a Spider-Man. He is just hilarious. And he didn't lose a beat. He didn't lose a beat at all. When you saw Andrew come up on screen, it was just like, yo, this is amazing. And I just loved it. I loved it. And then when Toby came through as well, that was just the coolest thing. And when they kind of had to confirm with each other that they both were Spider-Man, they both were Peter Parker, it was such a funny scene. And Ned's grandmother for a moment was hilarious. When she saw Toby, she like waved and winked at him, and I was just like, that's amazing. It made me really laugh, and I loved it. But going back to the scene with Tom Holland on the roof, because they were asking the MJ and Ned, is there a place for where he would feel the most secluded? Because Toby had the Chrysler Building, I believe it was Chrysler Building that he had. No, he had the Empire State, and Andrew had the Chrysler Building, and of course for Tom it was on top of his school. And he just, them meeting up and being there for him. And it was not them being, outshining Tom Holland at all. It was them being there for him and being actual supporting characters. They were not just in this film as a, just a quick in, quick out. They were actually supporting characters. And I am so happy that they were able to do that with Spider-Man. I couldn't ask for anything else, to be completely honest. Also, all of them working together in the lab was great. And they did the Spider-Man pointing meme without like it being super obvious. Because they were running diagnostics and the computer was done, and Ned was like, Peter, and they were like, yeah, and they were like, no, Peter Parker, and they were all just pointing around like, but we're both Peter Parker, we're both Spider. Like, it was hilarious. It was done so well, and I could not. That was a fan service moment that I was so happy about. Like, so happy about. It was great, and I really couldn't ask for anything more. Um, Now, what was really, what was kind of really cool that I didn't touch up on was the villains, specifically Doc Ock, because the scene in, well, specifically Doc Ock and Goblin, the scene that Aunt May died in, um, was, well, amazing. Um, because prior to her passing, there was there was moments where, you know, they were trying to figure out, Peter's trying to figure out how to cure the villains, that way when they go back to their own worlds they don't have to die. And you know, that's, you know, Spider-Man being Spider-Man, it's what they do, you know what I mean? And he was able to cure Doc Ock, and Doc Ock, of course, being the good guy again, made me really happy. But Goblin, Willem Dafoe, man, he was just magic on screen. He was truly magic on screen. And I could not just, bro, he was terrifying. And I loved it. I loved every second of that. And I wanted to say that to get to the last part, the last fight. Um, Before the fight actually happened, you know, Peter calls into the Daily Bugle to kind of let everyone know where he is, you know, so that way that they can come and try to kill him, basically, but they don't know that the other two Spider-Men are there. And they have this whole quip about Toby's organic webbing, and it was hilarious. And Andrew always, you can see that he's damaged, dude. You can see that he's damaged because he keeps talking down on himself. And Toby literally is like the dad, man. He's just like, no, don't say that about yourself. You're amazing. When he said that, I was like, it's great. And Andrew's like, no, thanks. No, I get it. I need to hear. Like, it was so good to sing because he's the amazing Spider-Man. And I could not stop laughing at that. It was amazing. Um, and of course, Andrew just going back and saying, you know, telling them, they're like, I love you guys. Like, he's so happy. And what made it even better was when Andrew went against Electro, and he's like, Electro's like, you're not even a shit anymore. He just drops his head. He's like, I know. was it was so good. I could not stop laughing. It was the best. And oh god. I loved it. I loved every second of just the scene. And you know, when they finally cured everyone, um, and you know, it was going back to being great. Goblin shows up and does his pumpkin bombs. It was the one that with the razors that we saw in the first movie too. And it blew things up, and MJ falls. Tom goes and dives after her. When he's going for her, he almost catches her, but Goblin catches him and drags him away. Andrew sees her and dives and catches her. And when he does, you see on his face the relief and the pain and everything, because he couldn't save Gwen, but he was able to save MJ. And and it's a small second, but and this made me cry. He just like, it was, he redeemed himself, and he knew he redeemed himself, and he felt better, and it was awesome. You know what I mean? And I loved that moment. I loved that moment for that Peter. Like, oh my God. But, you know, now we go to our final fight with Goblin and Tom Holland's Peter Parker. Prior to that, of course, Doctor Strange, he steals the box from Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange gets it back, but inside of it is a pumpkin bomb. And when that pumpkin bomb goes off, it unleashes the spell that Doctor Strange put in containment, that was unlocking that was going to bring all of the villains for Spider-Man into this universe. And so Spider-Man has to try to end the whole thing with Green Goblin, and you see vengeance. You see vengeance in his eyes. Like he is ready to kill. He is ready to kill the Goblin. And bro, when I tell you he delivered a beatdown that was like no other beatdown that I have not seen in any Spider-Man movie, he brought it out. It was insane. He was about to stab him with his glider, and Toby stops him and looks at him and was like, no. He didn't say these words, but you see in his eyes, he's like, don't do it. That's not what we do. We're here to save them, not kill them. And then at that point, Goblin stabs Toby, and we all like, no, because we think that he's about to die, but thankfully he didn't. And that part was hilarious when after Tom Holland cured him, and they went over to Toby, and they were like, yo, you okay? You okay? He's like, yeah, I've been stabbed before. And it was funny. The line delivery was great. But he looks up, and Toby looks up, and he's like, is that real or am I dying? He's like, no. And Andrew's like, nope, that's actually happening. And so Tom goes up to Doctor Strange, and he's like, can you stop it? Can you stop this? Can you put, do a spell again? He's like, no, I can't. And he's like, what if everybody forgets me? Will that work? And he was like, yeah, but you can see Doctor Strange didn't want to do it. He's like, he needed to do it. He didn't want this trouble to keep constantly happening. And so, he made it happen. He made everybody forget him. But beforehand, he went back down to see Toby and Andrew, thanked him for everything, hugged him. We got the best Spider Bro hug, man. We got the best Spider Bro hug. And then he went to MJ and Ned and told them what was going on, and the pain in MJ's eyes and Ned's eyes, and all that entire scene was amazing. It was heartbreaking too, because you didn't want that to happen. You, like, as the audience member, you don't want that to happen. But Tom says, to MJ, he's like, there's no other way. And before they kiss, they're just like, I hate magic. MJ's like, I hate magic. And he's like, I do too. They did one kiss, and she said, I love you. And he's about to say it to her, and he was like, no, don't say it until you find me again. And, she's like, you better find me, because I'll figure it out. I've done it before. I could do it again. And so, everyone forgets. And then we get the last scene where he goes to the where MJ's working. She's still wearing the necklace, which is great. The necklace that he gave her is the Broken Lotus necklace that he gave her in Far From Home. He still gave it to her, or she's still wearing it. And he's trying to, say, this is, he's trying to prepare to tell him everything. And she couldn't do it. He saw that they both got into MIT. They're really happy about it. And he just did what he was going to do in the general sense, which I think at the same time was selfish, but it's Spider-Man. He's still learning, because, MJ wants him. And you can tell that after he leaves, he gets his coffee, they have a conversation, and she's like, you can see in her eyes that she knows him, but she doesn't know from where. And, God, it's great. I love it. And he finally gets his own apartment. So we're getting the broke Spider-Man, his own apartment, his own shitty apartment in New York. And we also no longer have Iron Man Jr. Spider-Man. He takes the inspirations from the other Spider-Man uniforms. He sews himself an actual uniform, and we get a legitimate Spider-Man uniform with no tech, none of that. It is just his work, and he swings through New York. And guys, it's great. It's great. I love this movie. I love this movie so much. Oh my God. And also, quick post-credit scene. Tom Hardy is in the movie. I thought he was going to show up during the fight as Venom, but he doesn't. He's still wherever he's at. And it was kind of funny because he's like realizing that this world has all these superpowered people. and whatnot, and him and Venom talking. It's just great. I love it so much. And right after he starts getting sent back, a little bit of the Venom symbiote is left. And so that makes me wonder if we're going to get either Agent Venom, or are we going to get a black Spidey suit and get a Venom in this universe as well, which would be really interesting, because that means we'll have two different Venoms. And if we do that, I mean, I don't know where they will go with it. I trust Marvel. I trust whatever they decide to do. I trust the Sony collaboration with them. Whatever they decide to do, it's gonna be great, and I'm excited about that. And then of course the second post-credit scene is the Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness scene, which was absolutely dope. I'm super excited about it. And what if, bro? If you've not watched What If yet, at least the Doctor Strange episode and the last episode of What If, you need to watch it, because what we're about to get in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness is going to be absolutely bonkers, and I'm so ready for it. But okay, guys, that was my spoiler review of Spider-Man No Way Home. If you made it this far into it, thank you so much for hanging out with me the entire time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I haven't done a long review in a really long time, so it feels nice to be back on here doing it. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell, and let me know in the comments below what you guys thought about the movie. And of course, it's spoiler open, so go ahead and talk about all your favorite parts of Spider-Man No Way Home down below. Thank you guys. My name is Steven, and I'll see you guys next time.